Welcome back to another episode of the Marketing Quacks podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Dozer, and if you're new to the show, the mission here is to expose the quacks and gimmicks in the marketing industry while featuring some great marketers and entrepreneurs along the way. On this episode, I'm excited to welcome back my guest, Isaac Jarnagin. Now, Isaac is a videographer, content creator, podcaster, and also the creative lead at Integrity Grove. So, Isaac, thank you so much for joining the show once again.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, so for those who haven't listened to our first episode, can you just do a quick intro on who you are and what you're doing?
Yeah, I'm Isaac Jarnagin, creative lead at Integrity Grove, which has been more of a recent thing. Last few years, I've been solo doing video content for businesses, and then recently, since June, I brought on my brother conveniently, and he's been bringing in more of the full amount of marketing agency capabilities to provide to businesses. So that's been a new change for me, but that's what I've been up to.
Yeah, so last time I had Aaron on the show too, who you're referring to as your brother, and I had you on the show. This would have been last year at some point. So talk about a little bit what's different from back then when you were kind of doing the solo stuff to where you're at with this Integrity Grove company that you guys started.
Yeah, we're around that 2-year mark of where I just kind of said, dude, let's fling this stuff full time and scrape by for a bit. So I've been solopreneuring a little bit for the last 2 years, providing pricing to businesses and being helpful to them as best as possible, just kind of going at it guns ho, which has led me to a variety of stuff. So that's where I would have been at last time we were on a call together. And I've just desired to be a little more useful than that. So recently talked with my brother Aaron and saw his capabilities that he could bring and saw the opposite spectrum what I can bring, and thought that would be a good move and we'd be able to be very useful for surrounding businesses. So we took in that realm and started Integrity Grove, which is kind of where we're at.
Yeah, and Eric's a smart guy. Or Aaron, sorry. Aaron's a smart guy. I don't know why I said Eric. I was blanking there. So what separates you guys? I guess you could talk about yourself as a videographer, but what separates Isaac Jarnagin or Integrity Grove from the hundreds of other videographers and content agencies out there?
Yeah, with the Isaac Jarnagin solo, what separates me would just be the way I submerge myself in it with the video and creative side, just to learn and be a part of. There's not many guys that I know doing what I do without a carrot on a stick. I do it because I love it and learn it. What separates Integrity Grove is obviously there's so many marketing agencies out there. It's just getting more and more, and it's a very popular way to go for people that want to. Yeah, exactly. So we're just going to be that, the business that looks into your business and sees where you're lacking and where we could get some consistent, content marketing systems in place. So we're not going to be your one-man team that does it super cheap. We're not going to be your 50-person marketing agency that's charging you way too much. We're going to find that middle ground for you and really personalize it. And you're able to do that with a team of 2.
So you're actually going to help people and not outsource it all to India?
True. So, yeah, we're pretty new, so we kind of have too many capabilities right now. We're trying to work our way down to know where we'll really be useful for people. But just the fact that we're keeping that in mind of we want to be useful for people is somehow a benefit to us, when that should be how all business works. But
yeah, it should.
It's just funny how that goes.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I'm the same way for sure. So let's talk about, I want to hear your biggest win in your opinion so far. We're going to get into some of your work later on with the cinematic series videos, but if you had to pinpoint kind of what you think your biggest win is so far, what would that be?
Yeah, last time I talked to you, I just had no idea of an answer, so I just tried making stuff up, but I kind of changed it now. My biggest win has just been I've submerged myself into full-time work doing what I believe to be that I should be doing for full-time. I think that's a lot in today's world, so just being able to make that work is a huge accomplishment for me, and I hope to continue that up. But I've had wins over the years. Some of them are too distant to talk about, but it's just been trying new things full time. I think that's my biggest win, which has been fun.
I love that. That's awesome. So let's talk about your cinematic video series. So those who listening to the show may have probably come across on TikTok, Shorts, Instagram, whatever it was on. Talk about that. I want to talk about what was the inspiration behind starting this series. Talk about that first.
Yeah, well, let's just talk about what it is, and it's been I've been making cinematic videos, and specifically for mostly Iowa towns. So let's insert an Iowa town, Des Moines, but make it cinematic. And I've been taking my camera out, walking around the town, and recording it based on what my eye sees and what I think of as cinematic as you can get a short form reel to get. I've been posting those, and it's been attracting a lot of eyes. Not that I'm trying to snuff people with these numbers, but just looking at it from a baseline, I've never added it up. But I think that sort of series has cleared 1 million views across all platforms, which is huge for the state of Iowa. It's only a state of 3 million people. So even you asking about wanting to talk about it on a podcast, I'm like, oh, I might as well add that up. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I've cleared 1 million.
It's
Goodness.
impressive. It's very impressive. And people in Iowa and the Midwest especially, they love like where they're from. They like are very passionate about that. And what was the first one that blew up? Was it the Ames one, or what was the first one that really took off?
So the very first one I posted was the first one that blew up, which is unheard of in the social media realm. Ames, Iowa, but make it cinematic. And
That's
funny story on that. Man, beginning of this year, I'm posting 5 days a week, short form reels on all platforms. That's the least I should be doing. So I've been doing that in 3 months straight, 0 results. I think I posted 5 days a week, 3 months straight. I looked at, not that a follower count really indicates much, but it's a start baseline to look up. I lost 3 followers. That was my results of that. And so I was very, very discouraged. And so I'm making my plan, and I'm like, what can I do? I saw someone else make a But Make It Cinematic video. It's not an Isaac original idea. So I'm like, dude, I'm going to take some leftover footage that I've recorded over the years in Ames, throw it together, throw on that tagline, do some unique text with some unique animations and transitions, and see how it goes. Posted it. It went crazy. It did 250,000 on Instagram, which isn't the most crazy numbers ever, but when they're Ames, Iowa specific viewers, that's very useful for me. It's all people around here that have connections here. So that was huge. And it also did well on TikTok, which is, I've had a hard time making stuff do well on TikTok. So that was very interesting to see. So that was my first one.
So talk about the results from that so far. I know you collabed with Iowa Chill. I had Bryce Borcheller, one of the founders, on this show earlier. Talk about your collab with Iowa Chill, where you did, I think it was a general Iowa, but make it cinematic. How did that come to fruition?
Yeah, they messaged me. They've had their eye on me a little bit. You know, obviously they're very big advocates of Iowa. That's kind of their brand. And you know, they do their, showing the license plates or showing funny videos of people doing random stuff in Iowa, but I haven't really seen much of just making Iowa look beautiful and having people recognize. So I think they really appreciate that, the uniqueness of my style. And so they reached out like, hey, if you make one of these, we'll collab with you. And I'm like, there's 0 downside of that for me, all benefit. So I'd love to. And so what I did is I actually made a custom one for them. I'm like, well, they're Iowa Chill. I want to give them a very broad range that matches their brand the best. So instead of doing a town or a college, I just did Iowa, but make it cinematic, and was able to collab with them.
And what were the results of that video?
Yeah, we're at, I could botch this by 100,000 on accident, but on Instagram, it's around 650,000 views. What's crazy on that is 8,000 shares. That's unheard of. I see videos with 10 million views that did really well on the algorithm, but they have no shares. So seeing the amount of shares and people that took from that, tons of comments, bring people to tears. I don't know how, but it brought people to tears seeing their hometown or whatever like that. And then on TikTok, probably around that 200,000. So that one alone, we're 750,000 total, something like that. So
that's cool, bro.
Absolutely insane.
People get very emotional again when it comes to like their hometowns or whatever, especially the small
hometown
towns.
And nostalgia. A lot of people that have moved out of the area for other reasons and seeing it back again, it captivates the heart. And as a local, I'm able to see it the way they saw it. You bring an out-of-stater that comes and sees this landscape, they're not going to be able to capture it well. So I was able to hit the heartstrings just right. Not to dehumanize them and making it all for views, but that's why it worked.
Emotion works in marketing, bro.
It does. It does.
So talk about what are some of the results from this, right? Have you made some good connections from all these cinematic videos? Has it generated some business? Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, it's been my biggest social video that has directly impacted my business. Like followers wise, again, not a very good result metric, but like tripled the followers since I've started that series on Instagram and gained some on TikTok and LinkedIn connections. I've noticed a lot of good warm connections I've gotten. So I've met a lot of different agencies and individuals in the area, a lot of coffees, a lot of connecting with people. What was that guy's name? Just had a lot of cool phone calls. I met the guy who pressed create channel for Red Bull. And Red Bull is one of the craziest YouTube brands I can think of. You know what I mean? So that was a random one. He's from Iowa, so that was random. But as instant marketing leads, not too many, just because the content style and what I would very usefully provide, two very different things.
Yeah.
So maybe a handful of things that I've closed on, but almost kind of surprised on how thin that funnel goes. You start with 750,000 views, then you get your connections, then you get your like 20 or so people that actually are like, let's connect, and then a fourth of those are going to be people you're going to be doing work for.
But
so
also
that
you're
always
nurturing
surprises
too,
me.
right? You get a lot of followers, and they see your content,
Exactly.
they follow you, they may reach out 3 months down the road, so it's all part of the game.
It is. So just met with a guy that runs a video marketing agency right before this call. So that was just kind of cool, and he would have reached out from that video. So it's been crazy seeing how that works.
That's awesome, bro. Are you going to keep doing the cinematic series, or what else do you have up your sleeve?
I need to be just obviously it feels very saturated in my head because I've been doing it a lot, but I think that's something I should be continuing doing. And as much as new ideas, I don't have many off the top of my head. I think I got to kind of regather myself, do some creative thinking, and try some more ideas, see if I can find another one of those that does well. But crazy looking back and seeing the numbers that has brought in.
You could rinse and repeat that, though, for every single town,
forever.
every single city. I mean, that's a never-ending content strategy.
Yeah, the only thing holding me back is my work ethic there. So that's something I need to continue doing.
Yeah, for sure. So I want to talk about AI a little bit now, Isaac. Last time we talked, AI has changed quite a bit since then, as it always does. I want to talk about how are you still leveraging AI right now, I would assume, and I want to hear what your workflow is, what tools you're using. Describe that a little bit.
Yeah, I found my flow, almost simplified it a little bit, but really my main use has been AI ideation. And then obviously I throw it through, basically I post a lot for businesses. So I throw drafts of ideas through for every single one of my posts. The easiest ones have just been like YouTube tags or like give me your best ideas for titles and picking from a list of 10. So every single thing that I throw on the internet goes through that first, which has been a huge part of my workflow there. As far as the other tools that have been coming out more recently, I've obviously been a little slower on. That's where you fill in for me, huh? You keep me updated.
Yeah, so let's talk about AI video a little bit. Since you're a videographer, I want to talk about this. I'm sure you know what Sora is. Everyone's heard of Sora by now.
Sora
hasn't came out yet. OpenAI said just get on the wait list and it'll come out. And then it's been crickets, typical OpenAI. But there's been a lot of cool tools that have come out since then. We have Runway Gen 3. We have Kling AI. That's like a Chinese one that I was looking at a little bit. There's this Luma Dream Machine. Have you dove into any of these AI video generators?
I've touched Luma a little bit. I've not really thrown anything through it. I've seen some other one of their Luma products. I don't believe that's their only thing they do. Actually, wait, what did I see from Luma? I saw like a 3D rendering and you were able to make like a drone looking shot with it as well. So touched with it a little bit. Not too familiar with it yet, but the most practical use I've been in some short form content. I just use Dolly images just to like put a picture on something if it's some extreme idea. So haven't done too much touching in on those video generators, but they'll be a force to play here soon and already are. Not Sora yet though.
The craziest thing that I've seen is Grok 2 just came out and it has this uncensored AI image generation. Have you seen this yet?
Yes, a lot of political stuff I've seen.
So what people are doing is they're making these uncensored images in Grok 2, putting them into Runway Gen 3 image to video, and they're making like they're making like generative videos based on these AI generated images. It's pretty crazy actually.
Yeah. What's been your force to play with AI video? What's been your top one that you've seen give results?
You know, to be honest, I don't really use it for business practices anymore. No. It's more just reviewing it for my AI YouTube channel. But I would say Runway Gen 3 is probably the best right now in terms of like real world application. Most of these, again, they're just like cool, right? It's like cool to dive in, but it's like, how would I actually use this for business purposes? And I think we're still caught on that right now.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah, the basic language models that have been around for a little bit is what's been sticking with my businesses. Now I have to make sure I don't stay content with only sticking with those because it's just a very it's a world that's upgrading really fast. So
Yeah, I want to hear your thoughts quickly on just where you think this is going in the short term, long term future. I guess from my perspective, I look at, have you heard of like Google VO? That's like their version of Sora. It's their AI video model. I think this is a big player, and Sora is the ultimate wild card here for sure. But I think VO is a big player because I think about YouTube, man, and all the video data that Google owns and their servers and their disposal. Well, think about the drone shots. Think about all the B-roll footage that they can just scrape from YouTube because it's their content now. They technically own it. And then they can just repurpose that from a text to video model. Hey, send me a drone shot of Des Moines, Iowa. Well, they can pull drone footage off of YouTube, repurpose that with their AI video model, and then boom, you have a drone shot with just a simple text prompt. So that's where I think it's going to go, at least in the short term.
Yeah. How far along is that product?
I'm not sure. Yet? No, okay. I don't think so. It's like a Sora. Look up. It's like VEO, Google VO. So you'll have to do some more research on that. But it's not public, I don't think yet. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah. No, it's something you don't think about. Is like Google's always going to be a player if it wants to be, just because of the information they have. So yeah, that doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, the infrastructure for sure. So I want to talk about Marketing Quacks now, Isaac. This is the Marketing Quacks podcast after all. Maybe you have the same answer as you had the last video or the last episode we did. I can't even remember at this point. But if there was a quack or a gimmick in your space of content creation and videography, what would that be?
Man, just mostly running with short form a bit. I run into a lot of people saying words that just are no truth at all. A lot of bald-headed men running around short form doing really well, and it's provided a lot of disingenuousness throughout the short space, which obviously it does well, so they keep doing it. But it's been hard for me to make genuine content and for me to actually get results from it sometimes. So that's been a real bummer, and it's very quacky. I don't remember what I said last time, but that's something that's been frustrating me recently. Just the disingenuousness of the space with that.
You talking about like the clickbait hooks and like the clickbait shorts? Is that what you're getting after?
Yeah, no, like entrepreneur type stuff. Like, I make this many figures doing this, sign up for my crap, blah, blah, blah. Like, that's just filled with my feed is just filled with that. And that's been a real bummer. And I think a lot of people believe that stuff, and it gets hard on them. So I hate seeing stuff like that. Let's just be honest in this space. You know what I mean?
In terms of video content, I would say mine is like the exposed one. When people make videos about how they exposed a creator, how they exposed a company, or they expose this marketing tactic, and they have the clickbait thumbnail with their face like this and fire all around them. And then you click into it, and it's just 10 minutes of just promoting their own thing, or it's not actually doing what they said they did, because they could be sued for defamation, but they got the click, so it doesn't matter. And it's like, that's my biggest quack on that topic.
So yeah, the disingenuousness, and I don't even know if that's a word, but that's what I've seen a lot. And I think people are starting to catch on to that and liking more genuine stuff again, slower paced stuff, which has been fun, but it's been a fast paced world for a little while. And so people are still holding on to that as much as possible, since that's been what's working for them. But I hope and pray that over these next few years that'll start to die down a little bit.
It should. I mean, it should. Yeah. So Isaac, this has been a fun conversation. I just want to hear from you. What's next for Isaac Jarnagin?
Yeah, building up integrity growth, finding the partnerships we need to find and being useful where we need to be, and narrowing down our capabilities and making sure that we're providing the best for businesses. So we'll see where that ends up, but that's my short-term goal, and I'm very driven toward that. So
I love it. And where can people find you online?
Yeah, so personally, at Isaac Jarnagin on all socials, isaacjarnagin.com to read more about me, and any one of my business pages will be integritygrove.com, and obviously all the socials are attached there. So,
well, perfect, Isaac. I appreciate your time once again, and I've been funneling people to your cinematic videos. I'm like, this guy's legit, bro. He's got raw talent. Check him out. You know, so I'll keep doing that. You keep posting those videos, I'll keep sharing them. So I appreciate your time. Appreciate everyone listening to this episode of the Marketing Quacks podcast, and be sure to tune in again next time.
Yeah, appreciate you.